Hi, my name is Slade Meadows, and this is my term project for Info 5810. I decided to do my term project on a textual analysis of Elon Musk's tweets from 2015 to 2020. The data set contained around 9,200 something tweets from Elon. I got the data from Kaggle. It was web scraped by using a tool named Twint, which goes around Twitter's API. And yeah, so the the data set contained a lot of information aside from the tweet data or the actual text data. I didn't really use that for anything. I did go over some of the frequent mentions and URLs that he shared, but most of our focus was on the text of the tweet. And so what I really wanted to find out from this is what Elon's interests are, what he was tweeting about over the years. I kind of was looking to see if there was anything surprising in the data that you wouldn't think Elon would be tweeting about. And so it was mainly exploratory, just to see what would come up. And so I used RapidMiner to perform the data analysis. I chose to do an association analysis and a k-means clustering analysis. And so we pretty much used the same processes from assignment 4 and assignment 5, except with new data. I did have to insert my own data dictionary because it was picking up a lot of weird words. Actually, they weren't weird. They were very common words, but it was parts of URLs like .com, HTTP, and then it had some apostrophes and stuff, which I removed. Symbols for apostrophes, sorry. And so I broke the text down into tokens, and then we analyzed the tokens using the FP growth operator and the association rules operator for the association analysis, and then the clustering k-means operator for the cluster analysis. So the association analysis was a little underwhelming. It only had 2 matches, model and Tesla and car and Tesla. Nothing else came up. I don't think the association analysis was a great fit for the data in hindsight, but we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a bit. So the k-means cluster analysis turned out way better in my opinion. It had, for a k-means value of 4, which is what I started with, it had 3 pretty distinct clusters. The first cluster, cluster 0, it was mainly conversational terms that he would use to reply to people. Cluster 1 was a nil cluster, like it didn't have any values for any of the terms. Cluster 2 was a SpaceX themed cluster, and cluster 3 was a Tesla themed cluster, and those are to be expected. I reduced the k value to 3 in an attempt to try to get rid of the nil cluster, as I named it, but it did not get rid of the nil cluster. I'm not sure if that's an issue with RapidMiner or something I did wrong with my analysis. I'm not sure, but it didn't matter what value I changed the k value to. The nil cluster remained even when I increased it and decreased it. Increasing the k value to 5 spawned a new cluster, which we call a Mars cluster. It came from the SpaceX cluster, and it's just more about Mars, colonizing Mars, living on Mars, going to Mars, to where the other clusters mainly just about the company SpaceX in general. I also increased it to 7, and the clusters it was coming out with were just kind of didn't have any meaning. So I feel like 5 is the optimal value for the data. I feel like the association analysis would have been better for a data set that was geared towards something more specific. Like the Amazon data worked really well, but it was based on what people were saying about the company, and they were all like cons or pros. And this is, uh, I would have thought it would have been good data for it, but I mean, it's just so wide of what Elon Musk talks about on Twitter that it was didn't I feel like it didn't find much. Um, the clustering analysis revealed Musk's primary interests. He obviously is interested in Tesla and SpaceX because he's the CEO of one of those companies and the founder of the other. He's interested in space travel. I think the analysis would have been more insightful if Musk wasn't a celebrity, just because I kind of already knew he was interested about that stuff. I feel like if we were just do this on like on a coworker, family member, whatever, you might uncover stuff you didn't know about them. So yes, I was a little surprised to see that Grimes wasn't mentioned anywhere and PayPal wasn't mentioned, but that's the only thing that I thought might pop up that did not. And so I would be very interested to perform this analysis on um, another data set that's maybe from someone who's not famous. But thank you. It's been a great semester.